Gavel.
All the meetings don't get back.
I have a couple.
Gonna be hammered. We call the meeting to order. It is 9:01 on May 18th. Are we recording?
Yes.
Our reports. Okay. So we are going to, I don't know if we need introductions, everybody knows everybody. We're just here, so we're gonna forego introductions. For those of you who weren't here the other day, bathrooms down the hall on the left. If you need anything within the building, just let me know. Happy to accommodate. And just a reminder, you should have had your per diem forms, but if you guys didn't get them, we should have some here for you. And so I think what we'll do, we did make a change to the agenda, just so you know. The original agenda that you received, number 5 is review final scores and discussion with funding strategy. That of course happens in executive session. So it's just reordering, and just a quick reordering. And I think that's all we changed, correct?
Yeah, that's what we changed. I should have changed the slide. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. So let's just jump right into ground rules for the day. Do you want to go through those, Laura? You've got me.
Absolutely. I'm sure. Absolutely. Public attendance is welcome. This is a working meeting. Board members may direct questions to applicants through the chairman. The board chair will indicate the appropriate time when public comment regarding proposal may be provided, which may not be at all today. I don't know if that's the rule. The proposals are confidential until scored. This is to prevent undue influence and is in accordance with state of Maine purchasing policies. Board members will refrain from discussing proposals with applicants, the public, or members of the press. And scoring is based on the information contained in the proposal applications. Those here to observe will avoid any actual or appearance of attempts to influence the scoring process. Likewise, board members will refrain from asking questions of the public. Conflict of interest. If a charge of bias or personal financial interest, direct or indirect, is filed against a member requesting that member to withdraw from a proceeding of the board, that member shall determine whether or not to withdraw and shall make that determination part of the record of that proceeding. The board will endeavor to stick to the agenda and avoid broader topics that may not relate to the scoring process. With respect to the charge of bias or personal financial interest, it's okay to abstain from scoring or participate in the discussion of a particular proposal at your discretion. This helps the board maintain a transparent, predictable process and maintain program integrity. Coming. It's the battery fed, Jason.
Oh. Almost works.
Okay.
That was me though.
Oh, okay. The goal of the scoring and evaluation process is to ensure fairness and objectivity in the review of proposals and ensure the funds are awarded to the bidders whose proposal best satisfies the criteria of the RFP, which is the LMF workbook. Each evaluator to take notes. Please place your name on your scoring notes and give them to LMF staff. Board scoring is by consensus. Consensus means that everyone can live with the decision, although they might not totally agree. Differences of opinion among the board are expected. If consensus cannot be reached, the board will take a vote. Where there is general consensus, the board will adopt the board average score. They will discuss the criteria where there are scoring discrepancies or the average score is not an eligible score. Reminder, projects will qualify for points under multiple land assets or single exceptional value. There aren't any of the latter in the current group, so no problems there. These are the criteria. These will look familiar to you. And these are the actual, this is how we award the points. For naturalists, I won't go through all of the, unless you want me to, I won't go through all of them.
No.
Well, these are here if we need them. And we do have here, which slide is it, Flora, for the discussion we had about community? Oh, new slides. No. Okay, wait, here we go. Proximity to, no, sorry, wrong section. Okay. Here we go. Just to inform our conversation if we need to have it about.
The accessibility.
Yes, exactly
At
that.
the end of all of.
Oh, okay.
these scorings.
Okay. Okay. Oh, here, community accessibility. All right, here we go. There we go. There's that. And then we have the statutes that deal with that at the very end. So this is the one we were talking about yesterday. We had, Barbara brought to our attention, maybe some disconnect there, is maybe how. And this is the one where the bonus points are available for community accessibility. There
And is the statutory language there some?
Not yet. I'm gonna get to that. That's at the very end of these. Very end of these. There we go. Okay. Community and economic impact. Oh, no. Yeah. Laura, do you want to describe what's up here?
Sure. I just wanted to highlight, from the conversation yesterday, there was some discussion about community accessibility. So I just wanted to highlight the two places in the scoring where community accessibility is discussed, where there are points available. So that's community and economic impact, and then community accessibility. These are the scoring criteria. Then on the next slide, as was requested, is the statute. I bolded the section of statute that touches on this there for you. And then the following slide is just another thing that the scoring committee considered, and that was the Maine Climate Council's Equity Subcommittee. And there is the recommendation that was pulled in as well for help in your discussion.
Right, right. Thank you, Laura.
Can you go back to the statutory language, please?
Yes, indeed. There you go.
So I think, Barbara, what you raised is what is bold, right? The connection between conserved lands and population center is really, I think, the key word here. I don't believe it's defined and beyond what is here anywhere in statute. So I think it is in the eye of the beholder. So I think it's probably important for us to have at least a loose agreement of what a population center is. Ulner is not a population center, but Gardner probably is, in my mind. Something along that line.
But if in fact, population center could be a relative term, if for instance, down east, Hancock, Washington County versus here, that somebody down there might take us an objection to us saying that Machias isn't a population center or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The exact example I was thinking of, I mean, the total population of Machias relative to almost any town in southwest Maine
Right.
is small, but
Right.
to circle in Washington County.
But for that area,
It's
right.
the population.
Yeah.
It
It
is
seems
also
to
just
complicate
one of many points that
Yeah.
they say to take
Yeah.
into consideration, because it's not just population centers, it's regional agricultural, cultural and historical resources. So it covers such a broad span that if you were to focus just on what we personally think of as a population center, you're going to be all over the board. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of areas of gray in that we need to take
Yeah.
into consideration.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Appleton
think
is a
in-
population center.
In the
This
scoring
was yours, Mom.
committee, we were trying to achieve, and you'll see the language, population center, urban center, but it's more for a county, so Rumford, Mexico is really a population center for Oxford County, Farmington is a population center, so I think the concept of different population centers, not just one population center, but what I think in the scoring committee, we did not feel that it just meant 10 miles of proximity to any town, unless that town and its surrounds were indeed a population center, at least for that region and that county. So the reason I brought it up was because I had this discussion with Laura, and I think there were a couple of specific projects where they had given the 5 points that didn't make sense to me. And so we had that discussion because 5 points is a lot in the scoring. And, this is our first outing with this language, and we may need to refine it and do some more work with it, but
We can discuss it specifically when those proposals come up.
Yeah, that's what I was, that's right. I think that's what I was going to suggest. I think this is one of those areas where if may not be an issue considering how much money we have and how many projects we have, but if we have to start nitpicking, I think we need to flag those areas, make sure that we're kind of walking through them a little bit. more closely. Okay.
Okay. 82. There we are, available fund. This will look familiar to you. This is with the set asides. Out of the 30 million allocated to CNR, we have for project purchases, we have a total of the 14 million some odd you saw, but this is minus the set asides, right? We have $12,802,248 to spend on projects. Yeah, 12, yeah, almost 13 million. Yeah. That's after subtracting the set asides. So we have 14,922, so whatever that number is. Yeah, it's a lot, but this is assuming the 15% set asides. That's what that 3 million. So we have 12,802 plus that 3,886. That's what you saw on the other sheet. If that, I see a question.
Well, no, I just want you to clarify. That is through this fiscal year, next fiscal year in the community and recreation.
That's right.
And I know that letters of inquiry are not due until tomorrow, but
Right.
because you work with our DSAs, you probably have a sense of what may be coming into us.
For CNR, I'd be interested to know, BPL has a project coming, right? Do we think that BPL has a project coming, right?
We think there's a BPL project. At least one that.
Yeah.
But we don't know acreage or dollars on that
Right,
one.
that's just the problem with LOIs, we don't always get all that information. So we don't know particularly well. We have quite a few farmland applications that
That's full of money.
no, and that's exactly, that's what I'm, that's my.
I think we're looking, I'm aware of, I think, 4 or 5 CNR projects of varying size. Several of those are relatively small, and I don't know what kind of dollars we're talking about for any of them.
Right.
And while looking at last year, may not be accurate.
Right.
Last year, it was over 6 million that came in.
Exactly, and let's see if that's here. Do I have that? I just final set aside. I wanted to find that. Yeah, when you look at last year, because that's what the sheet here, it should be here. There we go. This is that number. So here you see in that middle line, anticipated funds available for 11B for the next round. If we fully fund 11A, that leaves us 7 million, almost $8 million on projects. That's minus that's all together. And it's 6 million of that for set aside. See the number off to the right, 6.5 million. And then the final bottom line took the numbers from last year for the working forest round, and use those as a stand-in for actual data because we don't know. But it was 5 projects, but they were high dollars and high acreage. And so if it was a repeat of last year, we'd have about $1 million left over, 700,000 of which to spend on projects.
That's for the 4th year of the.
This would be for 12A. If we fully funded everybody at this rate, this would be for, 12A.
So we'd be going into our 4th year
With $1
with
million.
almost nothing.
That's right, but
They're round numbers.
right, that's right.
Funny, we would think of $1 million.
Something.
It wouldn't be enough to do a call. It would be insufficient to do a call and.
It poses a question for me, and that's, we've talked about allocating, not expending, but, if you've got $1 million for the 4th year and from everything we've heard, there might be more money coming, subsequently. Another time. Are we still prohibited from exceeding that $1 million as far as allocating? This project will qualify if we get money?
Yeah, I don't think we would, I don't know. Well,
I would say yes. Because there is no money in the budget in the following year that's been allocated with the
Exactly.
biennial budget. We can't allocate it against that. There's no money there.
right. But if we get the money,
We
then
get
we
the
can
money.
allocate against it,
Right.
even though we can't disperse
Can't
it.
disperse it, yeah,
We'll know before round 11
Yeah.
B.
good.
We'll know by
Yeah.
then whether we're looking at more money or
Yeah,
not.
and I think this is what we had for conversation very early on when the precedent was set and we were allocated 40 million of general fund. To me, this is a good problem to have. It shows the need. And that makes this conversation even stronger when we're in front of the legislature, in front of appropriations, with Senator Black's bill or anything else that might come in after that.
Yeah.
Fundraising 101. You ask for money, you spend it, you tell the people how you spent it, and then you ask for more. It's very simple.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah, this
Exactly
would be,
that.
there would be people in the halls that would use this against us if we said, hey, we've got 7 million left going and we're still asking for more. That would not be a good situation.
And likewise, if we're running out of money, there are people in the halls that will advocate strongly for more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
agreed.
Exactly.
And we have to keep in mind, this is all taxpayers' money
Yeah.
as well. So it would be a shame to fund, all these projects have merit, but to fund a lower scoring project when we wouldn't be able to fund excellent projects for the next funding year. That would be my only hesitation of, we've never had like a cutoff before and ranked them. We've just been funding everything. And I don't know if that is prudent for us to continue doing that when we do have funding.
No, I agree.
Limits.
We can't.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much money we have, we shouldn't fund projects that we don't think.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly the level. Yes.
And that has certainly been a conversation with previous boards. We've, in executive session, just roughly would establish kind of a cutoff score and then talk about how we were going to fund. Usually they'd get funded, it just would be funded at a much lower level. So that the precedent has been set in the past.
And if I could just be a bit of a pessimist here, even though I'm sitting to the left of Bob.
I have said it
Yeah.
in executive sessions when we had. to
We'll
make
strike that.
choices.
We'll strike that.
Strike that from the minutes, but I, as optimistic as I am about the bipartisan support for additional funds for LMF, there are a lot of needs on the table and there's a lot of discussion between the parties about what needs will be met. So I'm reluctant to assume that we're going to have monies to allocate until I see them at the end of the session.
Very correct, man.
No. Yeah.
So just to recap this, available for 11A is just under 50 million.
That's right.
Anticipated funds,
And this-
if we fully allocated in this round, that would leave us with just 7.7 million
That's right.
for the next
Exactly.
working forest round.
Exactly.
For the RFP that has already been out on the streets.
Exactly. And by that time, we'll know whether we have funds or not.
Yes.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. And, and the third number, you can kind of ignore. It's just, it's really not that pertinent because we don't know. We'll find out. We'll know by the time you have to make a decision about the budget. You can ignore it if you want or not. I didn't ignore it when I went to the legend. Then I was like, no, we need money, but,
So we have a pessimist on the side.
exactly. Are you all ready for me to move on to the next slide? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Curtail. Okay. Funding strategies. This is the blank screen for us to think about funding strategies. That's what we can do right now. And Jason is ready with, are you?
You want to, you tell me, I don't have a, but
We
we
don't
need to
have-
score before we talk about, specific projects. So that's
Well,
what I have.
That's a way where we could decide, hey, we'd like to have theoretically a cutoff. That's, I think, why this slide is here. Or do you want to find out what the scores are before you make
Oh,
it?
I got it.
Certainly the number you need to know, but like, okay, right, well then
Yeah.
ignore this blank.
Yeah.
Great.
If we are ready to go to start the scoring process,
Exactly.
I think that may be where we are.
That's, yeah, we are almost ready to do that. We have this,
Yeah.
Or we're going to scoring is outside of executive session. So score, then go into executive.
well, this was,
You're done.
You're scoring. I'm not sure I agree with that premise because we're scoring on applications that are still confidential. Right? We normally would score.
The way I know, I'm almost certain the way we did it last year was we scored everything publicly and then went into executive session to discuss funding.
Yep.
But you're the chair. So
Yeah, well,
this is what you want to do.
This is why the agenda got
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I will do whatever you.
Yeah, and so let me just look at this statute here for a second.
I'm impressed you can read that.
Oh, yes. It's very tiny, it's a lot of words.
Even on yours.
Hmm.
You have the title on statute for executive session.
School, I think it's executive session.
I thought we did, I'm pretty sure we
Really?
did.
I thought
Last
it
time
was
we
school.
did executive session.
Very can't.
It's discussing,
And I would not have been that, yeah, I
it's
agree.
discussing the specifics of projects.
We all submitted the scores, so I think we reviewed the scores.
Brought it up.
And then but we didn't comment on why we might have bumped up or bumped down.
So we're just
Yes.
moving that
So
step.
that's it.
Okay, all right, so,
Would you still like to see this? Would you still like to see Title I?
I mean, I don't need to see it if we're in agreement that we'll just do this in executive session,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that is that would be my suggestion,
Okay.
because we're gonna be talking about confidential.
Yeah.
It's simpler.
So we're going to go into executive session.
So a motion to move to go into executive session. Two, you have to,
say the
review
reason.
final scores, just have to add that to your motion.
Okay, so I move to go into executive session to review final scores.
I second that.
I have a second by Bob. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, is there any opposition? Seeing no opposition, motion passes. So this will. No opposition, motion passes. So we are back in the public session for this board meeting, and if we could get the slide.
Right, I'm gonna do 30 seconds. It would be good to make sure that the public can hear us, though.
Can somebody from the public just raise your hand if you can make sure you hear us?
We can hear.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Could I ask for a 30-second delay? I was asked to notify somebody when we came back that was already here
Yeah, okay.
from Rangeley,
Okay, that's fine.
wondering how she could, so I just texted her that we're back in session.
Okay. Well, we're
Just to-
gonna work to get the slides up.
Yep.
So I think why that is happening, I would just state for the record that, and for the members of the public that are listening, the board has just finished a very thorough discussion as it pertains to the review of final scores and a funding strategy. The motion that will be made will reflect that funding strategy. We certainly appreciate all of the applications that have been submitted to the board.
Not connected.
The board has made a decision not to give preliminary funding to all of the applications that were received based on a scoring criteria. And so with that, trying to draw this out on behalf of somebody who I think might be coming, but
Filibuster.
Before we go to the motion, does any member of the board, would any member of the board like to make a statement on this?
Yes, I'd like to go to the bathroom.
He's going to-
Yes.
You do well in Congress.
He would.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna take a 2-minute pause here. Why don't you go ahead and mute for 2 minutes?
Prostate pause.
Yeah, we're out of executive
So we're
session,
ready for the next slide.
so we are ready for the next slide. Yep.
All right.
So, after thorough discussion, would any member of the board like to make a motion?
I'll move that the following projects receive a preliminary allocation of $5,190,000 of LMF Conservation and Recreation Funds, and that's the projects labeled Eastern Cottontails, Salmon Falls, McCoy Bay, High Peaks, Keystones, Kezar River South, Lexington, Cedar Way, Rumford Community Forest, Branch Lake, and Haystack Mountain.
We have a second by Barbara. Any discussion on the motion? Get it back into the record. The motion is that the following projects receive a preliminary allocation of $5,190,000 of LMF Conservation and Recreational Funds, Eastern Cottontails, Salmon Falls, McCoy Bay, High Peaks, Kezar River South, Lexington, Rumford Community Forest, Branch Lake, and Haystack Mountain. Is there any objections to the motion? Seeing no objections and all members present, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Good, yeah.
Good work, everybody.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations to those who have received preliminary allocation. Letters will be going out in the next few days.
Yes.
We'll say few days by the end of the week. And I think that precludes our business.
Will the press be notified of this through us?
I'm assuming that staff will work on a press release and coordinate with Ag's Conservation or Communications.
Help me. Jason. Hold on one second.
Communications Director.
Is this where you want to be or the next one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, good.
Okay.
That's good.
So just for the finalists, the applications will be notified in writing. This as a selection of the finalists, as a finalist, the board's preliminary allocation of LMF funds to their project will be included with that announcement, as well as the funding conditions. Until that time, I just want to make sure it's clear to everybody, the board allocations are confidential. Applicants may request a verbal report from the acting director following the end of this meeting. Okay. That's the last slide.
There we go. Thank you.
Quick staff updates, just as a reminder.
Yeah.
Laura, do you want
Next
to do
board
those?
meeting, sure, June 27th, and then September 28th is those 11B working for and farmlands. That'll be the value, the scoring, those proposals. And then next AOC meetings, look at the AOC, look how hard the AOC is working. So yeah, so, and that's that. Thank you. Thank
Great,
you
thank
very
you.
much.
What's the focus of the June 20?
The June 27th. That's too hard to question me to answer right now. Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I will let you know.
I
have some thoughts.
We should have
I
an
do know.
appraisal. We should have an appraisal.
Yeah, we'll have some projects like
potentially.
that.
And exciting news, we, our intern, completed her, equitable access study, and she will be at the June meeting. I know this for sure, to share her results. It's really pretty interesting data. So,
Next two meetings are 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
the June, I'm gonna say is at 10 o'clock. The September, I'm sure is at 9 o'clock. It's not showing up already. We'll make sure it's so, because that's scoring.
10 o'clock. Well,
No, 10 o'clock June. I would say 9 o'clock September, but I'll confirm that, Roger. I don't.
Motion to adjourn.
I think, did you have one? Did you?
I could give an update.
Yeah.
Just generally, you all might be wondering where we are at in our search for the new director of LMF. And we have done a round of first interviews. We'll be conducting a round of second interviews this week. And I think after that, we should be in a good place to identify who will be stepping into the role going forward. So really excited about that. We're happy with the pool that we've got, and I think we're all going to be happy with the selection in the end.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work.
Great.
We adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and second adjourn. Anybody that's objecting, so, thank you very much for, work well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Memorial Day weekend.
Exactly.
Yes.
More.
There.
You're shifting out of my hands. It's so dangerous.
And I didn't have anything from the slide on it. Yeah, I got that. Because I'm so.